Good morning. How are you today? I hope all is well. The sun is shining where I am, which is always a good start of the day. Even though the construction outside my house make the whole house shake in the morning, it's good to wake up to sunshine. And I wonder what you've woken up to this morning. And as ever, let's start with breathing. Let's breathe together 3 times. And let's make that breathing out, that exhale, longer than the inhale. If you want to, you can count. Breathing in 1, 2, breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can just breathe out and make it longer than the inhale. That's usually what I do. And then I really invite you to make a sound with that exhale. It feels really good. So we'll start with breathing. We'll check in with our body, do a little practice, and then orient outwards and voo like we do every morning. All right, so let's breathe. Ooh. Let's do it again. Go. And when you breathe, just go at your lung capacity and just do what feels good and comfortable for your body in that moment. I know some mornings I make bigger sounds than others, and other mornings my sounds are really small and subtle or not there at all. So it's all good. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. This is just listening to our body, doing some practice that might support our body. Right, so now we get to check in with our body and take a little bit of a baseline. If you want to, you can close your eyes, lower your gaze, keep them open, whatever feels good to you. In the somatic practices, we use breath and attention a lot. So all we're doing right now is basically turning our attention inwards. And as we breathe and notice what's going on inside of ourselves with as much curiosity and as much non-judgment as we can handle, we just kind of take a temperature check of ourselves, basically. We're not trying to change anything. We're going to try not to judge it. We're just gathering information about how we're doing this morning. So things that you might want to notice as you turn your attention inward is how's your body doing? What muscles are tight and what muscles are relaxed? What's tense or what's not tense? What's in pain, what's not in pain? How's your breathing? Is it deep? Is it shallow? How's your heart in terms of how fast is your heart beating, but also how's your heart emotionally this morning? And how's your mind? What are the thoughts that are coming up? What are the thoughts that are swirling around today? So when we check in with ourselves, we are our body. We say our body as if it's separate, but really it's all one thing. So we want to notice kind of how our bones and muscles are, but also how's our breathing, how's our heart rate, and how our emotions and our thoughts and what sensations are going around. So as you keep checking in with yourself, also take a moment to notice gravity and that there is support underneath you. So if you're standing, that might just be the floor underneath your feet. Or if you're sitting or lying down, that might also be the floor or chair or couch or bed. So really feel that support underneath you. And notice that point of contact between your body and whatever it's underneath you. And as you're noticing that point of contact, see if you can relax into whatever is holding you right now, even like 2 or 3% more. I always find that I can relax just a little bit more into the chair Really noticing how the support is holding you, even if you don't kind of hold yourself up here. And let the support really hold you, let gravity do the work rather than you doing the work. And again, with as much curiosity and as much non-judgment as you can manage, notice how it feels to kind of be supported by gravity rather than holding yourself up. We do a lot of holding ourselves up, even when we don't need to. And it kind of gives our body a little break, but also teaches us that sometimes we can be supported. We don't always have to hold ourselves up. And the practice that I want to share this morning is pretty simple, and it doesn't work for everybody, just like everything else that I share. See, this is the thing about doing this first thing in the morning. I haven't had my coffee yet, usually when I do this. So forgive me if I get the words wrong. So just like everything else that I share, this is not going to work for everybody. So if it doesn't work for you, don't worry, just don't use it. And use whatever practices are supportive for you. So with this practice, we are gonna try to make the container of our sensations and emotions, or even thoughts if you want to, bigger. Let me break down what I mean by that. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of having a sensation or an emotion or even thoughts that are like really overwhelming, or that are so intense that they're kind of buzzing almost inside your body, and it's hard for you to tolerate them. It's uncomfortable. And so what we're going to practice is using our breath and imagination. I know we're using our imagination a lot this week. I think that's the theme for the week. We're going to use our breath and imagination to make the container bigger. So if you're feeling intense sadness, intense worry, intense anger, intense discomfort, that it feels a little too much for your body alone, for you alone, let's make that container bigger. Let's, through breath, expand it as big as it needs to be. It might need as big as the room you're in, as big as the neighborhood you're in, as big as the state or the country you're in. Can go as big as the whole galaxy. You can make the container as big as you want to. Or if it's hard to imagine, just sometimes people feel like they don't want to put whatever they feel it's not pleasant for them out in the world. Know that you're not going to hurt anybody by doing that. But also if that feels like too much, maybe imagining that there is a much larger group of humans that can hold that sensation or emotion or thought with you. And it can be humans, but it doesn't have to be humans. It can also be like animals and ancestors and plant allies. Anything that feels supportive for you. And I know we're using our imagination a lot, and kind of adapt it to whatever your imagination can do and whatever your belief system is, of course. Alrighty, so first of all, just identify something that feels not your like biggest, most uncomfortable emotion, but just a little uncomfortable today in your body. We're going to practice small. So for example, I'm having a lot of nausea this morning for some reason. Doesn't need to be a reason with my body, unfortunately, to experience things like this. So it feels a little too much for me to hold by myself. So through breath, I'm going to try to make that container bigger. Remembering that I don't have to hold this sensation by myself or this emotion by myself if it's an emotion you're working with, or a thought if it's a thought you're working with. So through breath, making the container bigger. Imagining that container expanding. Can be as big as you need to make it. And you're not hurting anybody by doing this. Take a couple more breaths to expand that container. And then again, noticing, did that work? Did that not work for you? In some ways, whenever I'm sharing a practice, it's a little bit of an experiment to see what suits you and what doesn't suit you. And if it works, or if you're like, it might work, but I need a lot more time than we have in this Facebook Live, please go and experiment afterwards and play with it. Or maybe you're like, I had no emotions or sensation that really felt the need to expand beyond myself. So maybe next time you have one of those, you can remember, I can try to make the container bigger. Alrighty, so now it's time to kind of orient ourselves outwards and then do some vooing. So we'll do that next. We paid attention to ourselves, we checked in, shared the practice, and now we turn our senses outwards. It could be looking around, listening for sounds around us, using smell, using touch, whatever senses are most easily available to you. And as you turn your attention outwards, try to find something that's pleasant, comfortable, or neutral to connect with. And then once you found it, there was something on the side, so I moved it so I can still look at the camera and look at my object that I want to focus on. Once you find something that you want to connect with, whether it's through sight, through hearing, smell, touch, whatever, or maybe you have your tea or coffee and you want to take a sip of that, that's okay too. So take a few breaths to connect with that resource. Really noticing its color and shape, if you're looking at it, or really noticing what's the pleasing or comforting or neutral quality of the sound you're focusing on, or of the taste or smell or the thing you're touching. Really deepening into that relationship for a few moments. And again, noticing how it feels to do that. And you can really do that with anything throughout the day. For example, I was focusing on this color because it's really pretty. This is slime. One of my kids has been really getting me into slime. And not only was I noticing the color and the sparkle, which was very pleasing, but I was also remembering kind of playing with it yesterday, and the texture is very pleasing, and so kind of having a bit more of a whole sensory experience that was pleasant and comforting to connect with. Again, you're noticing how you're doing. I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more alert and relaxed and awake, which is kind of what we want in the morning, hopefully. So now we voo, as we do every morning, because people have been really loving the vooing, and I really love it, so why not? Just very simply, if you haven't joined before, vooing is just breathing in. As you breathe out, you say voo, but you're doing it more to get a vibration, so it's more like this. And you keep going until all your breath is out. So even if your voice runs out, before your breath runs out, you keep going until all your breath runs out. Breathe in again, do it again. We'll do it together 3 times. Please go at your own lung capacity. We all have different lung capacity, and we even have different lung capacity from day to day. So you can have your eyes open, your eyes closed, whatever feels comfortable to you. You can lie down, sit down, stand. You might even want to experiment how voo feels in different states. So sitting, lying down, standing. So let's do it together 3 times. And again, breathing. Notice how you're feeling after vooing. Also noticing all the people are watching this live with you so that you're not practicing alone. It's easy to feel isolated during this time of quarantine. So it's good to notice that we can come together in a range of ways. So thank you for sharing this practice time with me. I will see you again tomorrow morning for one more practice before the weekend. It is Thursday, right? Yes, it is. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me. And I hope you all have a really, really good day. See you tomorrow.